Welcome back, my friends, to the bass that clicks. That sound never stops. It just started to drive me mad because I spent some time in this area, finished up doing a live stream, and towards the end of it had a suggestion to play around with the lighting a little bit more. I've added in some sea lanterns down the bottom here and over there, and you know, before it was like total darkness down the bottom here, and that really brings it to life, doesn't it? But I don't like seeing the sea lanterns, so then I started to mess around with making them a little bit more hidden, and that right there, my friends, is gorgeous. We can also hide lighting under the side of these entrances here, so that's what I've gone and done behind me. Look at how it lights up the entrance there. That is looking superb. I love this. Let's go have a closer look. It's pretty simple. Basically, behind each of those blocks, there's now a gap that goes downwards, so if I break that and then this, you can see where the sea lantern is, and in the corner it's a little bit more open, you just don't see it from this angle. So over here, a couple of glass blocks and a sea lantern down there. I think it provides pretty much the same light level from above as below and just lights up all of that perfectly. So I've taken the time to do that on all sides, and I've got to say it's a huge improvement to the atmosphere in here. It just feels a little lighter, still retains its moodiness, which is fantastic. Now, this episode we're going to start off by doing a few things here and there, and in the last episode we obtained these books for making another set of god armor. So let's head over to the Pigman Gold Farm and do exactly that. So my friends, there are two reasons that I want to do this. One is because the first time we didn't get the best OP armor that we could have done, and the second is to explain to you how this stuff works, combining the enchantments onto an anvil. I was going to do a whole bunch of research into this and figure it out, and then I saw a video from NemBombMC literally explaining the ins and outs of combining these enchantments with an anvil and the best way to do it. If you want to see his video, I highly recommend it. It will be linked in the description box down below. So let's start off with some basics. A item put into here has a base level value of 1, if you want to call it that. And when we combine it with something else, you'll see it goes up to 2. That's because this thing has a base value level of 1 as well. But that's not the same of all books. Some are more expensive than others. So Thorns over here, you can see, would put us up to 12 levels. Another thing to mention is that you've done a fresh enchantment. Like these ones over here, I got out of End City chests a long time ago. If we go and rename this, you can see that it still has a base level of 1. So these right here actually sort of count as a freebie, and they're actually going to save us some books. Now the next principle is going to get kind of foggy quick because we're working with books that don't all have the same value, but you want to find pairs that you can combine with the lowest cost right here. So if you can find one with 2, that's probably the way to move forward. What we'd then do is we'd take this book with 2 enchantments on and we'd combine it with the helmet that has the equal amount. So if we had that right there, we'd combine them together for 4 levels. But with the helmet and the fact that we're going to put fawns on all of this armor means we do things in a slightly different order. So we actually put fawns on first of all. Now we're going to take protection and fire protection. So this has 2, as does this, because of the base, including the fawns, and then we combine them together for 10 levels. Now each time you do this, you want to find the best combination. You can see by swapping them around, it only costs 4 levels. The same thing applies to these 2 as well, 2 levels, or you could pay 6 for it. So we'll take the cheaper one, and then what we're going to do is combine them like that, which is 10, equal to what we just did. So we grab that, we put it on here, and you'll see it now costs us 26. The last thing to do is combine these 2 books together and to put it on like that, and now we've got all of the enchantments onto a single thing for only 13 levels. I tell you what, it actually really confuses me why the price goes down after being up so high, but there you go, that is our OP armor right there. As much as I'd like to think I really understood what Nembom was explaining, I do see some odd stuff going on with these different values. So once again, we're putting on Fawns first of all. Then we're going to go with Blast Protection and Unbreaking, which is the cheapest combination, going down to 3. We combine those again. Now it makes sense here when the price only goes up by 1, because remember that was our first thing that we put on there, the Fawns. So we'll take that. We'll also go ahead and combine these in that order. And then when we combine that with the chest plate, the price goes down to 12. That I do not understand, but I'll take it anyway. Okay, I'm kind of winging it with the diamond leggings here, and this is a little bit different. Now the price gets pulled down to just 8. Anyway, what is the best combination? I'm kind of winging it a bit here with the last one. This book costs 10. It's quite expensive. Let's hope it holds up. So that goes, oh, it's going to be fine, isn't it? No. Oh, it's because I don't have 26 levels. We used up all the XP, and the farm is still running. So that, my friends, is the leggings and the boots taken care of, and look at all those glorious enchants. Excellent, we did it. Full OP diamond armor. Or should I say God armor? If any of that made sense to you, you are a special person. Go check out Nembomb's video if you want to get the full rundown on that enchantment stuff. As we do in this series, all of you help me make some decisions. Last episode we did a poll about the fin on the side of the building. As you can see, it's been removed. It looks so much better without it. And the indent has been applied to this side. This building's looking gorgeous. The only problem was the roof. A lot of you didn't like it. So I took these ribs, that's what I'm calling them. And let's look over my shoulder here. I took them and I extended them upwards but pushed them back into one another. So we have a similar shape on the top, but it follows the form of the building much better. The only problem is it's kind of all open at the moment and it loses its charm. So I think what we need to do in this area up the top is probably throw down some nether brick like this so it's a bit more closed in. And then obviously it would come back a little bit as well. Yep, that is precisely what it needed. However, I've got a feeling from this side over here where we fly into the top of it. Actually no, that's kind of alright as well. Excellent. There might be a couple more refinements to make here, like filling in these inside bits, but overall it's looking fantastic. And you'll probably notice that I've redesigned the redstone here as well. I built this little circuit, which is a pulse extender. This was sent to me on Twitter by Eric Sigolson, so thank you so much for sharing it. If I butchered your name, I do apologise. This circuit right here I think is pretty much the same or very similar to something I used a long time ago when I used to do redstone on a regular basis, and then I kind of forgot how it was done and it really annoyed me because it's such a useful little circuit. The amount of items inside of this hopper defines how long it can extend the pulse for, and the way to look at it is actually from this bit right here. We have an on state and then we have an off state where this torch is. The torch is also doubling up as our output as it will reach the redstone down below. So when we press the button, we're going to turn off this torch, and then that's going to swap this. So this side is on, and that side is off. And because the redstone here isn't overriding this comparator, it's actually going to turn on and keep that torch off until the items drain out of this hopper. And when that happens, then this is going to switch back to normal, and all the items make their way from one side to the other. So if I press that, you can kind of see it in action. If we look in here, the items are moving from one side to the other, and then they run out. This thing switches and then they flow back in. Now I don't know how much we need in total, but let's go for a few more than that. I think we just saw a lag spike. It kind of hovered around a certain amount for a moment. So if I press the button and we go down below, of course the redstone activates the trapdoors and then the water gets to stay extended for a while. That to me looks like more than enough, so I probably don't need to adjust anything. So we can pretty much consider this project finished. My goal was to try and do it in 2 episodes. It took us 2 and a little bit. I want to be far more productive with all of our projects from now on, right? I've got loads spanning all over the place, and I'd really like to, get into a groove of wrapping them up, as we have done with this tower. Before we get to the next part of this episode, I need to interrupt and let you know that there is a Hermitcraft live stream day happening very soon. The date is Sunday, June the 30th. We have 7 hermits streaming back to back, so that's 14 hours of action from the Hermitcraft server. You can see the time zones and times on your screen. You can head to livestream.hermitcraft.com to get links to all of the Hermit streaming channels and to see this image in full resolution as well. So add it to your calendar. I hope to see you there on the day, and now let's jump back into the episode. The next project that requires wrapping up will need some preparation, and I am notorious for being very bad at being prepared, but not today, my friends. I have been doing some design work in my creative world, coming up with something fantastic that we're going to build to finish off the pillager outpost over in the new area. I say finish off, there might be much more that I want to do over there, but I certainly know what we're going to build for the tower. If you remember, we added some stone bricks to the build and kind of laid out the template for having a tower over there. I need myself 24 diamonds for our next purchase because I have gone and prepared loads of materials into shulker boxes, but there are two that I know I'm going to be low on. And so for the longest time here on the server, I haven't really done any proper mining or instant mining. And so when it comes to things like this, yep, 12 diamonds, I am pretty much running out of all of my stone and all of my andesite. So I think it'd be a good idea to go over here and grab those, and then we will definitely have more than enough for what we need. So over here in the 1.14 lands, you can see that there is a square, well, a rectangle, hovering above this thing, right? There's a story behind that. We were going to build one of the ominous banners, which you can see down here. However, I've kind of changed my mind. So we were thinking of building that on top of a tower that's going to reside out of here. Now there is one big reason for not doing this, and that is basically the shape. It would force the tower behind it to be rather boxy and not particularly interesting to look at. We may still be able to put this into the world, but anyway, our original idea was to do a 1-to-1 conversion of this, and a banner is 20 pixels across and 40 up top, and that would just be really too big for the scale of our building. You know, imagine a building with a flag on top of it that's bigger than the building. That's what we would end up doing. So if we were to scale it down to something like this, it would be more reasonable. And I also had a suggestion to do this as a stained glass window within the tower, which I thought was really cool. But again, I couldn't really get a good tower shape together that will allow us to have such a big window. So because of that, we are going in a different direction, and I designed something that was uniform to this right here. But as I always do, I managed to miscount it, despite knowing that I would miscount it and therefore should double triple check. I should have quadruple checked. Anyway, what I realized we could do was come over here and just make this one block bigger, which will be good enough for my design. So I'm going to go around and rip out the stone blocks and just push them back a bit, which will be absolutely fine. Also means we're going to rip out this bit of spruce right here. So it's been moved in, and I've been plucking away at creating the design for this area, which is basically going to be a flat stone wall, and then every other like this we're going to have a slab, a little gap and some cyan to tie it to the eyes of the pillager, at least on the banner. And after doing a lot of this, I kind of realized, oh yeah, I got all this andesite with me so that I could throw in some variations, right? So I could put the occasional slab and the occasional andesite block to do that thing where we just break it up a little bit, which is what it probably needs. So let me just put in these 3 blocks. This is kind of how it's going to go, right? And you've already seen I've done it on the other side. So let's step over there. It's a little bit on the bland side, right? So if we come in here and just tear out the occasional block, put it into andesite, it will probably look a little bit better. And this is just the foundation. This building's going to evolve above us. Yep, this is always the way to go, just to throw in a few. And I haven't done a lot, and I think that's how we'll keep it. It's like a ratio of maybe 5 stone to 1 andesite, and we'll keep that going all the way around. We don't record at night very often, do we? It doesn't look particularly great on YouTube, but hey, I'm just going to stay up here and show you what's going on. So the thing's been built up the whole way around, and now we're starting the base of these towers, which are going to go up very tall, and there's going to be 4 of them, and they're built off the corners of these. So let's take a step back. You can start to see how it's going to come together. There's going to be far more detail going into this, but the thing I was just pondering a second ago is how it's going to look from the inside. There's just enough space for this thing to squeeze in, and you know what? A lot of what you see right here on these sides of these rings that are going to be built up won't actually be visible or need to be visible from the outside. So we'll be able to remove that and make sure that this guy doesn't have too much stuff around him. Now looks a little bit odd with all of those turquoise blocks everywhere, or cyan blocks, so they'll need to get covered up too. And so once the outside's done, there's going to be a whole challenge of making it look good on the inside, but for today we're just focusing on the external structure. I don't know why, but there is string all over Scar's build here, and a couple of snow layers. I was asking him about it, and Scar's saying it's got something to do with the snow. I don't know what's going on. Oh, maybe it's the biome and snow settles at a certain height. Or maybe the snow is just dropping down from Scar up above. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, there's the building. You can see this kind of works because it looks like it's got a really strong foundation and the rest of the building has been built off of the top of it. So I'm happy with that. And as we go over there, you'll notice that I've removed the rings from the inside. I realised it's kind of like a waste of resources, and the chances are when I want to decorate the inside, I'm going to tear them out anyway. So now we're just going to build these up really, really high, and then we'll put in what goes behind these little curves here. So we are almost ready for that. I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate the view. I've left in the black wall there because I'm starting to think maybe we could hang the banner off of the front of this, but we'll leave it alone for now. And also, I'm not trying to get involved in this height competition stuff over here, but look at how crazy it is getting. It's absolutely bonkers. Our building isn't going to get too much taller than this. That's all I'll say for now. That's right, my friends, the replay mod is back. That's how we were able to pull off all of those magical moving camera angles a moment ago, and I was so excited to use the replay mod, which is now out for 1.14, that I didn't really think about how it would fit into the episode. So let's think from the mind of a content creator for a second. What had I just done? I had spent some time flying around with my camera account, showing you this structure from afar. Then the beginning of the time lapse that I just made with replay mod was the camera spinning around it, and then the building that I did here wasn't probably the best to kind of show using the replay mod at all, but hey, I was just really excited to do it. And of course we're going to do some amazing time lapses for sure real soon with the replay mod. So this is it now. We've got nether brick in the middle, and I'm just thinking, should I rebuild that and make it a little bit bigger, make it come up higher? I don't know. I feel like maybe these towers have gone a little bit too tall for where that ends, but we could take it a little bit further and have a middle tower there. Anyway, what it is simply just the nether brick like stepping back a layer at a time. It's kind of hard to see from here, but if I move to the side you can see the angle, and I really like the way that it holds the towers together. I think there may actually be a possibility of me running out of stone. There it is. That's all I got left. I did have another note. That shulker box is empty as well. You see, I've got plenty of andesite. Let's go upwards, whoosh, and through there, and that is one of the finished towers of all four. Let's look behind us. You can see I placed the blocks on the inside, and then let's rock it over like this and look over our shoulder. It's so tricky to get the right angle to look at it. Oh, look at that as we float down there. That's looking majestic. I love it. And that's going to be the top of the tower. We might additionally put something in the middle as well, but for now I'm going to tear through the last of these materials and build up as much of this as I can. Yep, it happened. I ran out of stone, so we're back over here, buying what should be a very easy resource to get. But like I said, I haven't been mining in ages. Anyway, there we go. That'll help us finish off the project. So looking upwards, we can see this is now finished. However, there's supposed to be something here in the middle, maybe a miniature tower, I don't know, and I thought that black wool might be the thing to build here. I really don't know what this is. Perhaps I could put like a campfire in the middle and it'd be like a bit of a chimney stack, although you wouldn't really see the particles from too far away, right? So this little bit right here is kind of left undecided, and I'm also trying to decide if I should put that banner on the side of this or not. I think I would move it upwards so it would hang from higher up. Whoa! Went right into the laser beam or whatever that is there. So, let me know in a comment down below, should we put a banner on this thing with the illager's face? That is the last thing that I've got to figure out now, right? But that structure looks gorgeous. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. So making our way back to the regular Hermitcraft island. Wow, this place this shopping area. You've probably seen it many times. It's always inspiring to be here. And just the other day, I got really inspired when we came and visited Sahara and used it for the first time. Now that it's up and running, it's got to be said, it's one of the best projects you'll ever see for a shopping district. And I got really inspired by Ren's book over here. Let's go have a little look at it. You see, on the second page, there is some ratings. Food and comfort, 1 out of 5. And I could think of something that would help customers feel maybe not more comfortable, but certainly satisfied putting a little bit of grub in their belly. Now the problem is, if I were to come over here and just build something somewhere, I'd probably be interfering with their plans. So what we're going to do is drop off a food dispensary system using redstone, and we're going to put it inside of a crate, somewhere where it's not going to be in the way. And then if the Sahara team want to use it, they are more than welcome to. So I'm going to pick out a spot around here. We're going to build a delivery crate and then put the redstone contraption inside of it. So this looks like a good spot to leave it. I mean, there's nothing else here at the moment, and of course it's temporary. It's just a crate for the Sahara team to open up and find my contraption inside of it, which will be running. We'll get it running today, and I'll show you all how it works as well. But the floor space we need is actually a little bit less than what I built, which is 10 by 8. Going to leave some space for them to walk around, you know. So that's the floor of this crate. Then I'm going to build up a crate around it, and I think what I'm going to use is a mixture of this and then some spruce as well, so we have a little bit of like depth to the shape of it. And yes, I know that this is just some temporary box to hide my contraption in, but I still want to give it a bit of care, you know. And the materials we're using here are important too. I was thinking it probably would have been easier to go with something more industrial and use iron blocks, as I've got loads of them lying around. These spruce trapdoors are probably going to cost me a lot, right? Anyway, I've decided we're going to try and minimize our use of them, and I'm placing a lot of blocks here to just put the spruce trapdoors on, you know, so it probably looks a bit silly at the moment. But I think what we're going to do is come up by 3 blocks, then we're going to have this. It's going to go like that. And then for the top section, we're going to put in some fence posts like that. And here come the phantoms. So made some modifications. The roof is a little bit smaller. That means some of the redstone contraption will be poking out the top, but that ain't too much of a bother. What's bothering me is that this looks more like some sort of western build. Do you know what I mean? I could picture it having more of it up the top there, that being like a balcony above an entrance. Oh, I don't know. I think I want to make it look more crate-like. I don't want them to come over here and be confused and think, what, Suma's setting up some sort of western bar in the middle of our area? So we're going to try and change this up and give it more of a crate vibe. And that I have now managed to do. I tell you what though, I have fussed far too much over this temporary building, but it looks like what it needs to be, a crate. And it's inside of it where the fun is going to happen. I am really looking forward to this. I had a wave of inspiration the other day, and I built a really cool contraption for dispensing food. Let's gather up the redstone resources that we need, and I'll start building and explaining what this contraption is going to do. So we are going to be creating a food dispensary, and this is a type of free food that customers at Sahara can get. However, it's going to be on display. This is going to create a unique challenge. You see, wherever they go, and I picked it up, they need to be able to see that the food is ready for them there to pick it up. And then when they go and pick it up and walk away, there needs to be new food replenished. So whoever's hungry in the area can come and eat for free at Sahara. But the main thing is that it needs to be on display. That then creates a really interesting challenge for us. So the gold block and the gold pressure plate are really just to kind of grab your eye and bring you over here. Around it I'm using these materials, which are very common in the Sahara builds. The one problem is that we're going to use trapdoors as well. So this is where the food is going to come from, and in front of it we want this thing to be nice and flush with a wall, which means either a trapdoor like that is going to be used, or you're going to have solid blocks in front of it which are going to stick out. And now that I think about it, you could do something less intrusive with quartz like that. Yeah, that's probably the better way to go. So the first challenge is going to be stopping our food from despawning, right? It's going to sit out in the open, and after 5 minutes it would disappear. So what we're going to need to do is pick it back up and put it into the dropper that we have up the top here, and we're going to achieve that by using a Minecart Hopper. Now you'll see here that it is powered at this point, powering both the rails. The pressure plate with an item on would also power this, but we wouldn't want it turning off when it disappears. So that's why the rail or sorry, the redstone block powers both sets of rails. So now, something as simple as an EFO hopper clock can send the minecart on its way every so often. So we're going to put items into this hopper, and of course I'll make sure when this thing is actually set up that it's not longer than 5 minutes when this goes back and forth. But it will create a pulse, and that'll allow us to send a minecart hopper down to the bottom to pick it up again. Should also mention, I've kind of just thrown this together without compacting it too much, so that's going to be a thing maybe some of you would like to get involved with. Ah yes, very important. You must have a repeater here to create a longer pulse, because the one from the redstone torch isn't long enough. So now this thing will actually go down and back up again. So now comes the really important bit. We need to get this thing to dispense items out onto the pressure plate and make sure that there's always one on there. Things get a little bit hacky around here, and it could certainly do with some improvement, but it basically works. So we're going to have that first of all. This will create a pulse going into the block in front of it whenever it moves up and down, and we can manipulate that by putting a torch on the block, and that's the same block that has the pressure plate on the other side. So let's put the stake up there in the dropper. Then I'm going to put the torch here, and that should go ahead and dispense the stake. Aha! And now the stake is going to sit there. So the idea is, before it would ever despawn, this thing would send the minecart hopper down below. When it does go and pick it up, which I'll simulate right now, it's going to then dispense another one. And if I, the player, come and pick it up and take some free food, it dispenses another one and keeps it on display. Oh, it's brilliant. And it won't waste anything as well, because we're picking it up and we're not letting it despawn. Now I said that things would get a little bit hacky, and that is this circuit right here. This is just a clock. You can see it turns this redstone on and off again, and that's actually to provide an additional update to the dispenser when it goes upwards, because sometimes you can have this very unfortunate timing where the player goes to pick up the food and the next one that gets dispensed will then be picked up by the minecart hopper going down below. And so this is going to provide an additional pulse. Now sometimes that pulse can actually line up with the dispensing of the food, so you have two on the pressure plate, and it's like the one little downside. That doesn't happen too often. Except we're getting it quite often here. I've got a feeling it might have something to do with the fact that we're on a server, as opposed to single player where you usually just see one item. And there it goes, getting restocked automatically to stop it from despawning and to stop there being any losses from having this item on display. A couple of things I'd like to say. It'd be nice to make it silent. It would be nice to make it 100% reliable. The only issue being that sometimes you end up with 2 drops here. And is there any way to make that item look more interesting from where we are? Because you might not really notice it, you know. Anyway, that was my little redstone idea. I got all inspired by Ren's book the other day, and I will leave this here for the Sahara team to discover. Bug, dying signs is broken in 1.14.2. That is just typical. Okay, we are all set and ready to go. I put a few more items inside of the EFO hopper clock. Probably not enough to make up our whole 5 minutes, but less is what we need. Less than 5 minutes, of course. And there you go. There's not much else for us to do this episode. I can't wait to hear back from the Sahara team and see what they think of the contraption. Maybe it will get installed inside of the lobby behind me. This is where we're wrapping up the episode, peeps. I do hope you have enjoyed it, and if you have, leave a like, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, then make sure to do so. Thank you as always, peeps. I will see you soon with another episode. Bye bye.